This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update video for June 23rd, 2:30 p.m. Here's the close-up view of the hurricane tracking map at Hurricane City, and you can see Invest 93L is due south of Jamaica. Now, the system started out around the 20th near the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curaçao in the southeastern Caribbean Sea, moved generally off to the west-northwest, and I believe this did merge with the leftovers of Invest 92L, so this could be a combination of both of those Invest. But the conglomeration of these two systems is now moving generally off to the west and is located south of Jamaica. And the system is not very well organized right now, but that could change over the next day or two. And here is a close-up visible shot from Colorado State. And you can see that the system is rather disorganized, but there is a low-level circulation, and it is located right in here south of Jamaica. And I'll show you another image to confirm that in just a minute, but again, very disorganized with all the convection off to the east of the center of circulation. In fact, there's a mid-level circulation that was last night was up in here near Haiti, and they've been getting some heavy rains on and off from the system, but luckily this is not developing rapidly and it's moving off to the west away from Haiti. But over the next few days, this system will find itself in a more favorable environment. Now, here is the close-up image showing where exactly the center of circulation is located. This is also from Colorado State, and the center is located near 15.5 north and near 77 degrees west, like 76.8 degrees west to be exact. And the system remains very weak, roughly around 25 mile per hour winds. But there is a circulation out there, and it is not the blob of convection that is well east of the center. Now, here is the climatological norms for this time of the year in the Caribbean Sea where this system is located. Normally we would only have about maybe a 1% chance of anything developing in June in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. But right now we're up around 3%, and that's because of the wind shear calming down in the Caribbean Sea. So this has a decent chance, and this number should go up. The blue area here should go up significantly over the next 48 hours as this gets into the western Caribbean Sea, where it should become much more favorable. Now, here are all the models, and what we've been noticing is a trend now that the models indicate that this is all going to, pretty much every model indicates this is going to move toward the Yucatan Peninsula and affect them in some sort of way. But then once it gets out into the Gulf here, the turn starts to take place, and that's in response to a trough of low pressure that's going to be moving across the United States, and indications are it's going to weaken the high pressure ridge that's way off in the northeastern Atlantic that's steering the system to the west is going to be eroded somewhat by this ridge that's coming across, and it's going to break down this high pressure and allow a turn to take place. And naturally, the stronger the system develops in the Gulf of Mexico, the more it would have to be pulled northward and finding a weakness in that high pressure ridge. So if it remains weak, it would tend to go more west towards Texas. If it's stronger, it would hit towards Louisiana and maybe even Alabama, Mississippi. We'll have to wait and see. And this is a worst case scenario for the oil spill, because they would be on the system would be to the left of the oil spill, which means all the winds would be out of the south heading and pushing all that oil on shore. And not only that, but they would have to get all these vessels out of there that are working to clean up this mess. So this is not a good situation. This is going into next week, early next week, probably Monday or Tuesday. They're going to have to start evacuating some of these rigs out there and get these people out of the oil spill area if this trend continues and the models continue to indicate that this is going to do this. Now, the GFDL model here takes this up to Category 2 strength, and it's been up and down along with the European model, which one day it has it as a weak system, the next day it has it as a strong system, and a weak system, now it's back to having it as a strong system near Louisiana. So we need to watch this very closely. All right, here is the wind shear in 48 hours from now. Right now the system is down here near Jamaica, but as it gets into the west Caribbean here near Yucatan Peninsula, very favorable conditions, maybe a little bit of upper level wind shear around 10 to 15 knots, but basically favorable conditions as it gets towards the Gulf of Mexico. Now, this is the wind shear analysis from the University of Wisconsin, and what you can clearly see, and the reason the system is not developing right now, is we have a high pressure ridge over the western Caribbean Sea, and this is causing clockwise winds here, and that's kind of pulling the convection away from the center of circulation. You see them fanning all the way out here, and this is what's causing the disruption. It's not actually a trough that's causing the wind shear, rather a high pressure ridge causing some winds out of the west-northwest here that's causing a little bit of wind shear. But as this system gets underneath this ridge of high pressure, then it'll become more favorable, and we can see some rapid intensification here of this system once it gets that closed low-level circulation cranking up in the Western Caribbean Sea. So we need to watch this closely as this high looks like it's going to build and allow this to go ahead and develop. Now we have one of our people on the message board. Tiny is out in the Deepwater Horizon spill scene, and he's doing some training out there and some science work on one of these vessels that's helping to operate the ROVs and clean up the mess out there. And this is one of the shots he sent me. He did mention that they took a section of the riser from the accident and are collecting it. They have all kinds of government officials out there, and they're collecting evidence, and it has been marked as evidence. So there's obviously a criminal investigation going on in this matter, and the part of the riser will be sent into for further detailed analysis on land, and they'll use that as evidence in the whatever trials are coming up about this oil spill. But these vessels you see in the picture here, and everything is going to have to be evacuated here if this situation pans out in the Gulf of Mexico for development. One more thing I wanted to notice: this is the water, not the water vapor. This is the image from the University of Wisconsin that shows the dry air out in the Atlantic. And the SAL, it's called. And what's happening is we have dry air that's wrapped around another system out here that is trying to get organized, but all the dark reds are right around this other wave that's out here around 45 degrees west. And this is has a probability of development, albeit low. It is wrapped around dry air, so the chances of this developing are not as good as the system in the Caribbean Sea, and we'll see this probably struggle over the next few days as all this dry air is wrapped all the way around it. But we will need to keep an eye on that one as well. Well, that's it for now. We'll be back with another update tomorrow. The hurricane hunters may go out there and investigate the system in the Western Caribbean Sea. And one more reminder on hurricanecity.tv. You click the logo in the upper right-hand corner of hurricanecity.com and watch the oil cams and the videos from the Florida Department of Emergency Management that show what's happening with the oil spill. That can all be found on hurricanecity.tv. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.